Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hi, everybody. So tomorrow's Halloween. Is everyone super excited? Look, I got my little Halloween hair clip in. It's a little black cat. Yeah, I'm so excited. Although I do have to go and get my giant needles again tomorrow, so that kind of puts a damper on the whole Halloween thing. But I would love to know what everyone is dressing up as if you celebrate Halloween. So throw that in the comments down below. Originally, I had this idea, but because I have to go get my needles, I'm like, that seems complicated. So I actually haven't even decided yet. That's sad. Anyway, today with us, we have Khadijat Quadri. Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me on your show.
So where are you joining us from?
San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. There's a lot of people from Texas that come on the show. It makes me really want to go visit there. Is it
Well,
worth it? Should I visit? Is it worth it?
it's a beautiful, diverse state. It has its own unique flair. But every state has its own unique flair. So it's always good to be adventurous. I enjoy being adventurous. So trying new
Okay.
things.
Maybe I will. It's definitely I mean, you could drive there from here, but that'd take like a day or two. So maybe a plane ride would be easier. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa. The My background story as a child, I was very intuitive, very clairvoyant. I had my dreams had a knack for coming true the next day or the next week. And being that I was raised in a very tumultuous childhood of a lot of severe childhood neglect, abuse, and also sexual abuse. My dreams and my spiritual life was my absolute saving grace. It was my guidance system. It was my everything. It became everything to me as a child. And lots of inspirations as a child. I even had dreams of my future. I had dreams of what I was going to be, what I was going to do, even up until when I do leave this planet. So, and I had experiences of angels, of light, and also difficult things and energies that were not of the light. And I also saw how they were connected to the mental health of the people around me
Okay.
as a child. So
What age did that, sorry, what age did that start? Like, do you remember like having all those dreams?
I think as far as 3 years old, I was
Oh.
experiencing, orbs of lights, angelic beings, people that have crossed over. And I also saw how there was an interplay of both the good and the bad, and how
Mm.
they influenced people's choices. And so as a child, I was looking at my parents and my family, and I went, well, how do people end up this way? It really, I always felt that mental health was literally the most important aspect of us, the growth part of us, the consciousness part of us. And it
Yes.
also speaks directly to our energy, our mental, our, spiritual health as well. And so that's where my journey began as a child. Eventually I ended up in the United States in an arranged marriage.
Okay. How
At
old are you?
20 years old,
Okay.
and went to school, college, and completed my mental health counseling degrees, and pursued a PhD. and studied other healing modalities like energy healing, polarity therapy, hypnotherapy, quantum healing,
Wow.
biofeedback methodologies. And all of these came together because as a professional, I still had those abilities till today where I could see the interplay of the mental health and what was going on energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. And
Okay.
so I
Hold
was,
on. I got a couple questions before we get
yeah,
too far. First, what was it? Quantum healing?
yes.
What is that? I've never heard that before.
Okay, so you've heard of AI, right?
Yes.
Okay, so AI has the ability to read the quantum, and so it can be predictive. In other words, it can see, can predict based on algorithm and
Mhm.
what is to happen sort of in the next day or two based on calculations. Okay, so that's one form of the quantum because it's able to move beyond the physical. So think of it like, we have matter takes many forms: solid, liquid, and gas. And then
Yes.
there are forms even softer and lighter than gas that is not visible to the physical eye, but it doesn't mean it's not there. And
Okay.
so, quantum healing is the ability to read into those ethereal fields of a person. And so some of my tools are actually softwares. Some of them are, a database of frequencies, because we human beings are frequency, and every organ in our body resonates at a certain frequency, and at a certain what they call radionic theory, meaning that it has a cycle and it has a movement and sound. And
Okay.
so when we're not moving in alignment with ourselves, we cause a disruption in the natural flow of certain organs in the body, and that eventually results in health problems. So, quantum
Okay.
healing is the application of sound and frequency for healing, but also to utilize those same tools to diagnose and get to the root causes of people's physical, mental, and spiritual health.
I mean, I always learn new things on the show, but that's interesting. And then the other question I had was about arranged marriage, just because you are the first person in over 200 episodes to have brought that up. So if you're okay with just talking a little bit about what that looks like and kind of was it okay? Like how did you feel about it?
Well, I mean, that is a whole other topic, whether it's
I know
culture.
it's a big one, so
We can have many episodes on that. I mean, uh, many cultures around the world do. It's not an unusual thing to. I mean, even here in the United States, someone says, "Hey, Randy, I have a friend, and I think you guys will be good for each other." I
yeah,
mean, did they arrange it, or I mean, did they introduce you? So, I mean, you can
yeah.
call it arranged in a way, in a
Yeah.
sense.
But, like, how did
Um,
you feel? Like, more on a personal note, how did you feel about it? Were you okay with it? Like, because it was obviously coming to the States worked out well for you, getting all your degrees and your schooling and stuff. But how did you feel coming over? Like, did you know the person ahead of time a little bit or?
well, we didn't really know each other except through various acquaintances.
Okay.
But at the time, I kind of share in my memoirs the extent of the abuse, childhood abuse that I was going through at the time. And
Mhm.
so when the idea of the arrangement came, I was actually open to it because it was an opportunity to escape the
Okay.
childhood situation. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't, people get married for the wrong reasons. And of course, I would consider that getting married for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but at the same time, I totally see why you would want out of that situation, so it makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. I just was curious only because like you're coming to a brand new country and it's like, do you even know anybody here? That's got to be scary going to a whole new country.
Yes, I knew absolutely no one. Um, and then, like I said, arranged marriage is not unusual in, other continents of Africa or
Yeah.
Middle East. It's, they, it's not frowned upon. It's natural part of their culture.
Yeah.
Um, either so many of them work out really well, and even the ones that you choose don't work out, always work out. So
Right, exactly. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but more on that personal for you coming to a new country and a new
yes.
situation is it's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but it has brought about some positives, many
Yeah.
positives. I think it has produced a healthy curiosity
Good.
to understand other cultures, other religions. So in my book, I infer to Christianity, to Islam, to Buddhism,
Okay.
to science. And so I think that even though I was alone for the most part, I think I've learned to um, even more connect with my inner guidance, and
Okay.
um, and it prompted me to go on a spiritual journey. For the last 20 years, I've been an avid meditator,
Okay.
I'm very much in tune with my inner life. So, and that has helped me to do what I do today as a holistic psychotherapist.
Well, then awesome. I'm glad that it's had some great benefits to it. I just was always curious about that. I would be so scared. Not that you weren't necessarily scared, but yeah, I would be so scared to go to a new place. I mean, I'm scared just to go to a brand new store. So that's my weirdness. But anyway, so you can continue on. I just wanted to touch on those two things so far, and I'm sure other stuff will pop up. And I'm like, hey, hold on.
Yes. Well, I mean, completing school and college and becoming a licensed therapist, I went into private practice, and
Okay.
for myself, and not long after I started, of all of the spiritual complexities of mental and spiritual began to play out in my space. And so but including the fact that very intuitive and connected spiritually. I also happen to be a researcher, and I
Okay.
started to question, well, how can I quantify what is going on? How can I research? How can I document? Of course, I have my notes as a therapist, but can I track progress? How can I help people see how their
Hmm.
thoughts and their feelings are affecting their energy field? How can I help people understand that they are a wealth of endless energy, and that they can pull energy from within, and it's not energy from without. In other words, we've been programmed to that food keeps us alive, and medications keep us alive, and exercises keep over. Yes, they do help, but really they're helping because we decided it's going to help. So in other words,
Yes.
what's really truly keeping us alive is from within. It is our, I mean, there's a lot of books out there talking about, manifestation and um,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with yourself. So people know this, but they don't know this. In other words, they know that their thoughts influences their emotions, influences their actions, influences their desires, but they're not thoughtful about
Yes.
how that really happens.
Yeah.
And so I got my first aura machine. um,
What is that?
So it is it's on my website, and I'm sure I'll share that in the end.
Yeah.
So an aura machine is based on gas discharge visualization techniques. Basically, you put your hand on a box, and it actually will read your energy, your chakras, the color, your aura field. And so it's
Okay.
really therapeutic in the sense that people can see their emotional blocks within their energy field. They can see how their thoughts
Okay.
shifting their color. Um, it can show them their yin yang energy, their acute meridians, and seeing is believing. So, you
Yeah.
you know, if I'm seeing things people don't see, well, there's no proof. But if I can show them that on a machine that where they can see their own energy field, that is an opportunity to help people connect with that possibility. And
Yes.
so, and then from there, I got other quantum tools that read voltage of energy, distribution of
Hmm.
energy. So you can actually see ill health before ill health happens. In other words,
Okay.
uh, it's kind of like a tree that has fungus. You don't know it has fungus until the fungus
Mm,
show up on the outside. But before it
yes.
starts showing up on the outside, it's been diseased on the inside for quite a while. And so people, we tend not to be aware of the shifting energy and health within us until we're physically experiencing it, which is the last stop, right? A tree that has a fungus on the outside is possibly now, this is the last leg of the tree's life. So
Yeah.
the same, happens with humans in the sense that ill health has been happening years back, whether it's from emotional traumas, PTSD, grief.
That's a
It
big
can
one.
also, go as far back as, past lives for those that believe that we could live
Hmm.
multiple lives. And the soul is carrying with it unresolved issues from previous incarnations. And those issues are actually stored in the energy field of the person. It's kind of like a
Okay.
software. We're like a computer. Um,
I like this analogy. I get it.
yes, we have a hardware and then we have a software. And so, can quantum tools read our software? Uh, and can we, some people talk about akashic records, which is really the software of a person,
Mm.
all of their experiences, um, from multiple lives, from ancestral connections, and it's all recorded in the field of that person. And so, what I've tried to do with my practice is to help people understand how complex but amazingly powerful we are by seeing for themselves that we're more than a physical bodies. And so
Yes.
yes.
I was just gonna say, so all of this stuff sounds really cool. How did you come to learn about it? Did you try it yourself before? Like how did you come? And I know that you did a whole bunch of schooling for all this stuff, but like
Yeah. Well,
how did you find it all?
they don't teach you this stuff in school, I can assure you.
Okay, well
um,
then really, how did you find it?
well, I think because of my own desire to heal myself, like I mentioned before, I had some pretty intense childhood traumas, but I
Mm,
also happen to be intuitive and clairvoyant. So uh, I really wanted to learn more about, like I said, the health, the curiosity. How can I show people what I'm seeing and research, have be able to research it and document it? Because if I say, hey, I think, you know, you, I had a client, for instance, who kept thinking she was going to die, but this was a pre-recorded thought from a previous life when she died, in an argument with a man,
oh.
who thought he had cheated him. And so
Mm.
that thought is still recorded in her field. And so she didn't understand why she was still having these feelings, even though her life was perfect. I mean, not perfect, perfect, but there was no
Yeah.
reason for her to feel that way. And so, and I have tools that will actually show her, and also astrology helps to point to. the experiences we've had in the past. So to answer your question, how did I learn these things? Because I love to learn about these things. I love the investigation and the research, and I love to go deeper. I mean, I have a moon in Scorpio in the 12th house. So this is just my playground, honestly. Um,
Okay.
it is my playground of understanding what's beyond the physical and seeing how we can to research and quantify it, and see the actual cause and effects of our thoughts, feelings, and our actions. And I write in my book that Earth is a school, and we're here to learn. And we can take multiple incarnations until we graduate. I mean, we when we're in elementary school, we spend 4 years there, and
Yeah.
so we have multiple tries, and we're going through many lessons, and in order to achieve mastery of elementary, middle, high school, and college. And Earth is in many ways like that too. We are learning 16, I think they say about 16 or so spiritual lessons, and we have to master all those lessons in order for us to advance further within our soul development. So I do like to share with my clients that and folks that we have to take our experiences here seriously. Yes, we do. We should have fun
Yeah.
and play, but we also do need to spend time within ourselves to ask ourselves what lessons are we here to learn, and are we learning them? And are we on our path? Are we doing the things that we're meant to be doing? Because until the soul feels in alignment with its purpose, we would always feel something is missing. We will always feel,
Oh,
whether
yes.
sometimes clients tell me they feel empty inside. They've lost their purpose. They don't know what their purpose is. Well,
Hmm.
they're educated. They have a great career. They have a family, but they still feel that
They're
they're
missing
they're
something.
missing something, and it's usually
Yeah.
because the soul is missing, is alerting the physical body to get on the path that it's meant to be on. And so
Okay.
my practice is about helping people find just that, and to
Okay.
find what practical tools can be utilized to help you know um, show the physical translation of what all that software information is. And also, not only that, how can I help people track their progress? And
That's a really good one, yeah.
yes,
So how do you do that? How can you for something like this, how can you track progress?
well, that's why I use the aura imaging, because the aura imaging
Okay.
actually. So in the last chapter of my book, I have case studies where I describe the ways in which I use these tools. In one of the case
Okay.
study, I actually used the aura imaging to track a client who had alcohol and drug addiction. And so she
Okay.
was able to see firsthand what her addiction was doing to her energy field. And
Okay.
and then she saw how hypnotherapy shifted her field when she started really truly working on herself and making changes. She saw the shift in her field. And so
Okay.
I was able to track that. And so it's in the case studies. I also have in the case studies the use of it's called the New Vision holographic scaling, and how I was able to get to the root causes of a client's issues with encephalitis. Um, and
Okay.
then I also have a client, took another case study with a client who had schizophrenia, but I determined that she was autistic, not necessarily schizophrenic.
There is a lot of overlap there.
Yes. So about five case studies in there to help folks kind of bring together everything I'm talking about in my book. Um,
Yeah.
and also, in one chapter where I included intuitive guidance and discerning true causes, so that the clients can see exactly how their thoughts and their desires is actually um, changing their field. And so
Oh,
at the end, when we leave the meat sack, because we're going to return the meat sack at some day,
I like that, Mitsa.
we're going to become our software. And our software is a perfect mathematical calculation of every desire, thought, intent, and action.
Hmm,
And so,
smart.
um, yes, and it's kind of like in school, and at the end you get a report card, and Earth School will give you your report card in the end. And I think maybe because I have encountered many spirits, ghosts, and both good and bad, I started learning that this is really more practical. This is more, how do I put it? You know, if you boil water, it gets hot. If you put water in the ice, it gets cold. Like
Yeah.
we are literally going through, as we're in this body, a sort of metamorphosis, a sort of
Mm.
development, kind of like an egg, and the egg white and egg yolk is developing into a chicken, eventually breaks out of the eggshell, and the eggshell returns back to earth, and we use it for compost or something.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing. We're in this body, and we are somehow, going through a metamorphosis within ourselves. And so for me as a psychotherapist, I really want, and I wish that our society focuses more on that internal metamorphosis, because that's why we
Hmm.
came. But we are more heavily adapt to focusing on the meat sack. We want it to look pretty and skinny
Yeah.
and a certain color, and we judge the meat sack. um,
Yeah.
and we want the meat sack to live a long time. It's not. I don't care how much whatever anyone does. You will leave it one day.
Yeah.
The question would be, how has your software been? Because that's what you're going to take with you.
Hmm. Okay. And so you've tried, like, in your healing journey, you tried these things, right?
Yes.
And
So
obviously,
I don't try anything on a client that I have not used myself as a guinea pig first.
that is good to know. So I'm assuming all of these things worked well for you because, like you said, you always try it first. What how did you go about finding someone to help you do this and learn this kind of thing? And how did that happen?
Well, I'll be honest in saying that I mean, I have found some wonderful friends along the way who pointed me to different, ideas. But for the most part, it has been my guidance system. And
Okay.
so I would just have a dream and I would say, hey, I think I need to go and become a hypnotherapist. And then I'll get online and I'll find a great teacher and then I'll go and learn with her, which I did. And there was another, this was a very interesting experience. I was having this strange pain on my right leg that
Mm.
it was extremely painful. I don't personally go seek out medical doctors because I feel I would rather um, find the true causes and heal so I don't have to get to that point. And so, but I did end up going to a chiropractor, and
I love chiropractors.
it helped some, but it did not fix the problem.
Okay.
And so it would go away and come back. I was told I had sciatica.
Mm.
I kept going back to the chiropractor, but I wasn't really getting better. So I went into my quantum, new vision tool, and I asked, like, why am I having this sciatica pain? And he kept telling me it was my digestive system and that I needed a
Mm.
colon cleanse. And I thought, what's leg pains got to do with digestive system? So I just thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to admit that maybe my machine is cuckoo and it's not saying, it's not, doesn't know what it's. And so I dismissed it. And then I got another quantum tool called the IMATE. IMATE stands for Immune Modulation Allergy Elimination Technology. And then I started scanning, and it says the same thing. My colon, I need a colon cleanse.
Oh.
So I said, okay, you know what? Maybe I should just, do this colon cleanse. Yes. As soon as I did that colon cleanse, the pain went away. So what had happened was, you know how our colon is like the filter of our air conditioning, and
Yes.
we've got to change, the filter. Well, we can't change our kidneys and liver,
Yeah.
but we need to clean it out. And when we get to a certain age, it starts to clog up. It starts to and when it starts clogging up, it's like the kitchen sink. It starts backing up.
I love all of your analogies because I can totally follow them.
I know. So the immune system, whose job is to get rid of the toxins, gets overwhelmed because it's killing the bad things, but I'm not getting rid of it. So my
Mm.
it's all backing up, and then so my immune system goes, well, the only thing we can do at this point is push all these toxins to her legs. We don't She can live without the legs, but she can't live without the organs. Hence the pain in my leg.
Mm.
So and so when I started doing the colon cleanse, my energy came back. I felt back to my old self. And it's insane how that issue caused so many issues, like can't sleep and fatigue and hair falling out
Wow.
and back pain, just because I needed to clean my filter.
Hmm.
And so many people have gone to doctors over this issue, and
I'm
they
like,
will progressively get worse because they are not addressing the root cause of the issue, which is not actually, it's usually a simple thing, a simple remedy, um,
hmm.
that that would have addressed the issue. But because the body alerts us, hey, there's something going on here, but we don't find the right cure or the right help. And then they're giving us this medication and that, but that medication, I'm sure if I had gone to the doctor, they would have told me I needed surgery. Uh,
Yeah.
and actually made my health worse and not care of
Yeah.
the issue. So this is an example of what I'm referring to about getting to the root cause and finding
Hmm.
solutions. And I'm not, I always tell my clients, please go to your doctor. And, I'm not a medical doctor. This is, disclaimers. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, so, and they have to make their own, decisions. A number of my clients come in because they have major depressive disorders and anxiety disorders, bipolar disorders. And anxiety disorders a lot of the time have a lot to do with magnesium deficiency.
I have heard that a lot from different naturopaths and people. And yeah, I
Yes.
everybody at my work, because we always talk about vitamins at work. I don't know why, but we talk about the different things. And that is one of the biggest ones. And I try really hard to remember my magnesium every day. I just don't always.
Yes. Yes. So a healthy diet is so important. And unfortunately, that's where it's eating healthy, living healthy is becoming more difficult these days for people.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that
You
was
know,
good.
healing
Lots of
myself.
stuff.
Yes. I found, the IMATE has helped to reverse schizophrenia, um, part of which is the result of, several things, epigenetic gene expression, which it does epigenetic balancing treatments and bioenergetic treatments. It has helped to, get to the source of depression, which could be physiological. It could be
Hmm.
because a person is low in vitamin D or B's, or they have a parasite issue. And so, I tried all these things on myself. I found them to be very helpful. I matched it against my quantum tools, and then I conducted case studies, several case studies, to prove that there is a well thought out alternative holistic approach to healing the mind, the emotions, the energy system, and the mental. And I think that's what I try to do, with my book.
I love that. So I always like to end this part of the show with a question. It's always similar but different. So, what would your piece of wisdom be to somebody who, I'm going to take it way back to the beginning of what you were talking about, who is brand new to their area and they're trying to figure out how to get some help?
So, uh, if they're brand new to their community
Yes.
and they're seeking help,
Yes.
well, I would say that we need to first learn to connect with ourselves. There is a part of us that is all knowing, all seeing, and is eternal and can connect to the source of all knowledge. I promise you, we need to start going within ourselves. Help has to come from within. Now, does that mean that you don't go out and ask for help? Well, your inner guidance will tell you where to go and who to connect with, and if this person is able to help or not. And so that would be my advice: is begin an inner journey of self discovery. Um, Learn to trust yourself. Trust your. Learn, be present to your environment,
Mm.
because one of the things I talk about is sick house syndrome. Your home can make you sick. So you
Okay.
want your intuition, you want your higher self or God or Holy Spirit, whatever you call that, and have an intimate relationship with yourself to be the one to guide you.
Yes.
That's my advice.
Excellent. All right. So, and I know you've mentioned your book a little bit, but tell us, what is it called, and give us a little bit more about what it is.
So my book is titled Indigen: Journeys of a Wounded Healer, a spiritual and multicultural guide for psychotherapists and healers. Now I call it a guide for psychotherapists and healers because I know that we're all on a healing journey to heal ourselves, others, and the planet. And this is just it is a very there's a lot to this book. There's a lot to it. The first thing is that I wanted the reader to learn about me and my traumas, and not talk at anyone. I've read many books where the author is talking about how to be mindful and everything, but they don't really talk about how they actually applied those techniques
Mm,
to themselves.
yes,
And
I
to
know what you mean.
me, it's very challenging to match my personal experiences with the things, all the self-help. And I read hundreds of self-help books in the hopes of healing myself. And I realized that the key is to implement those changes. Everybody knows, but very few people actually put those things they know to practice. So I titled it Indigent because indigent for me means anyone who is native to this planet, who is indigenous
Okay.
to this planet, okay, who has all of the requirements and the things that it takes to be human. An indigent is an open minded person who is willing to learn from others and who does not judge other people's cultures or modalities, but keeps an open mind because they understand integration and creativity. Um,
Okay.
Indigent understands, and I put it in my book about that all religions have something so beautiful to offer, and being someone who was raised Muslim. My father was Muslim, my mother was Christian. I studied
Okay.
the Bible, so I know the Bible very well, and I also know the Quran very well. But then later in life, I studied Buddhism and the Dzogchen path, and
I don't. What
I
is that? The Dzogchen path.
it's the Tibetan Buddhism,
Oh, okay.
and and I found all these religions to be absolutely beautiful because as an indigent, you are able to connect with the essence of these teachings, with the truth, with the depth of these teachings. When we connect with ourselves, we will uncover hidden meanings. Even a rose has spiritual meanings to it. And so life becomes rich for an indigent because all of life, they are interacting with all of life, and they are keeping an open mind um, to integrating all thoughts. And that is the essence of an enlightened person because an enlightened person has integrated all thoughts. So that is the reason I titled it Indigent. And you can see that's a
Okay.
silhouette of a child. So my childhood traumas and my journey to my enlightenment process. So I start with my traumas and then I then go into my healing journey. Um, and the forgiveness work, I talk about finding yourself, and I also talk about some of the modalities I utilize, like astrology. In my book, also, I talk about, my son was murdered last year, August 2023, in a hate crime in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh my
And
gosh.
after this horrific experience, I connected with him. He is an angel sent by God. And unfortunately, someone decided that he was not that because they were more focused on the meat sack. But my son is
Yeah.
an angel sent by God. And there are many, as I put in my book, many of us who have incarnated upon the commission set by God to support the evolution and the development of the collective that is humanity. And my son was just one of those. And I write in my book about my conversations with him on the other side. Still have those conversations with him. He is absolutely happy. He is ecstatic. The first time I saw him when he crossed over, he looked like one of those, those game shows where they won $1 million and then they have all these confetti and
Oh.
they're doing and then they're screaming. He was so ecstatic on the other side because he took the leap and the sacrifice and has ascended to the most high. And so I did share my conversations with my son on the other side about the fact that how important it is that we don't hurt anyone, we only accept
Mhm.
ourselves. We don't hurt anyone except ourselves. When we think we hurt other people, we really haven't. And my son was not hurt. He has been transfigured into a Christ like being, and that is what he is. And so I share that. And I even have proof of it in the book where I took a picture and a beam of light coming from the sky and landed on his grave. And I get many signs from him all the time how amazing and wonderful he's doing. So that's what my book is about. It's I think it's inspirational. I talk about the aura imaging, the biowell, the quantum tools. I offer information about where to find out more about it. And then in the end, I have my case studies. So
Nice.
I think it's worth picking up.
That's fantastic. I love that it's purpley too, because purple's my favorite color.
I can see that. Yes.
Yes, yeah. I had purple hair at one point too, even. It was great. So where do people buy the book?
Well, it's on Amazon, paperback and ebook, Kindle. It's on Goodreads, Google Books, Apple Books.
All the
Um,
books.
yeah, it's on the yes, platforms. I think, yeah.
Excellent. And where do they follow you?
They can find me on my first and last name, khadijatquadri.com, which is my author website. My work website, if they want to schedule an appointment for a consultation or therapy, they can find me at www.quadrax, which is QUADRACS.com. QUADRACS.com. And my calendar is on there if they want to schedule an appointment and, try.
Does it have to be in person or can you do online?
I can do both.
Okay.
So I can do in person and online, and my tools can work online too. So they can reach out to me that way. I am excited about what our spiritual future holds for humanity. And so thank you so much for this opportunity to share my insights.
And thank you so much for coming and sharing. And I have to say, I love that you have two different paint colors behind you because I am all about like accent walls. So I just had to point that out.
Yes, it is feng shui. Feng
I
shui,
love it.
yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media because we have some great new shows coming up and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye.